Right now at 7, South Carolina lawmakers considering a bill that would change the way many of the state's students learn U.S. history. If passed, the new curriculum would be based partly on former President Donald Trump's 1776 Commission report. Rob Way tells us how some worry it's putting too much politics inside the classroom.
All South Carolina public middle and high school students could soon be required to learn the history of the United States founding every year in a way that's consistent with former President Donald Trump's 1776 Commission report. State Senator Dwight Loftus from Greenville sponsored the legislation, calling it the Restore America's Foundation Act.
We have in today's society, I think, a lot of disrespect for the flag, for our national anthem and that sort of thing, and a knowledge of where we came from and why our forefathers did what they did. I think it's important that we know.
The bill is now in the hands of the Senate Education Committee. If passed, it would require a minimum of 30 hours of classroom instruction in United States history every year from 6th to 12th grade. The topics range from the American Revolution to the country's political philosophy. It also requires the state superintendent of education to review and prescribe suitable texts and online materials aligned with the principles and concepts of the January report of the 1776 Commission. This commission, which included no professional historians, was created by then-President Trump last September, and it released this report in January, aiming to promote a patriotic education in schools. The Trump White House's website calls the report a definitive chronicle of the American founding. Vernon Burton, a professor of history at Clemson University, disagrees.
The 1776 project confuses nationalism with patriotism, and there's a real difference there. And I think it'd be damaging for us as a country not to face up to say that we have problems. We have had problems. We're in problems now with this kind of legislation itself. It introduces more problems and more politics. It is telling people how to think, not to think.
The legislation is also getting pushback from Albert Robertson, the president of the state's Council for the Social Studies and the coordinator of social studies for Lexington County School District 1.
Our goal is the same here. We want to make sure that students love this nation. We want students to understand that this political experiment that is America is a wonderful thing. But we also have to understand that we're not flawless in our endeavors.
He adds a lot of the material recommended in the bill is already built into South Carolina's United States history curriculum, and the legislation's requirements may put a burden on teachers who are already trying to cover all their other required material.
There are specific allusions to United States history facts and events in, say, a world history class or in a geography class, but the thought to add the same content every single year for 30 hours a year it's going to be problematic.
The 1776 report claims the most common charge leveled against the nation's founders is they were hypocrites who didn't believe in their stated principles because they allowed slavery to continue in the Constitution. This charge is untrue, the report claims, adding it has done enormous damage, especially in recent years, with a devastating effect on our civic unity and social fabric.
Slavery was not the proper thing to do. It is slavery, and it's unfair to people who are enslaved. Going back to Egypt when they enslaved the Jewish people there. And we've always had slavery. Don't approve of it, never have. But I think it's good to know the good and the bad. That's what we learn from history.
Loftus says his initial focus of the bill was more on the founding documents, not entirely on the 1776 report. Burton says he's confused why the report is in there at all.
I have no idea why it's in there except for political and for the culture wars reasons. It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
State Superintendent of Education Molly Spearman, who would be charged with implementing some of these requirements, tells me she fully supports the legislation. She says most of the concepts listed in the report and the bill are already built into the state standards.
I understand that we need to be prepared to teach history accurately. So we're always working with our teachers to make sure that they have the tools, the resources that they need. South Carolina has such a rich history, but obviously there's some things that there were some dark times, and those need to be taught accurately, and our students need to be able to see both sides of issues.
Spearman says the state's Department of Education is reviewing the document and working to see if 30 additional hours of instruction would be needed seeing that the standards already include many of the report's lessons.
I don't foresee that it will be an undue burden on any teacher.
I regret the fact that this seemingly always comes to the slavery issue, which I don't agree with. I think it was bad, but I think we can learn from it. But I want appreciation for not only the sacrifices, but the mindset, the knowledge, the wisdom to create the laws that we've had that has protected us and given us our freedom for these many years. That's the key to this.
If the bill passes, a report detailing the state superintendent's process and conclusions would need to be submitted to the Senate and House Education Committees by mid-October. In Columbia, I'm Rob Way.
If you would like to read the 1776 Commission report or the bill in its entirety, you can visit our website, live5news.com, and click on this story. An update tonight.